Who is most to blame for the Sixers' collapse?
Skip, instead of just putting all the blame, I'm going to give it a percentage. I'm going to say Ben Simmons deserves 70% of the blame. I'm going to say Joel Embiid deserves 20% of the blame. And Tobias Harris, I don't know what he did yesterday, Skip. That was awful. Skip, you and I had a conversation, it might have been a week ago, about Ben Simmons, and Doc Rivers went on this rant about, y'all don't know basketball if you think I'm going to take Ben Simmons out in these situations.
That is true.
What the hell did he do last night, Skip? I said, you owe it to your team. Forget his feelings. Get him a Band-Aid for his feelings. Let him cover him up. But you got to have guys in there that can make free throws.
And by the way, Doc admitted after the game, I may have to take him out if he can't make his free throws. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Skip, I thought the game was over. I'm not going to even lie, Skip. They were up. When they got up 20, I turned and started watching something else. And I flipped back, and I'm looking. I'm like, hold on. How did they do this? They went on this 15-0 run. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. I said, nah, they go get it back, and they get it under control. And then they can never get it back under control. Trae Young started all of a sudden getting into the lane, hitting floaters. They fouled him, put him on the free throw line, Skip. But Skip, hold on. You can't be an all-NBA player. You can't be an all-star player and be a liability at the end of the game, Skip. I've never seen that before. He's an all-NBA player on the defensive side. Mm-hmm. He's an all-star.
He is.
And you can't play him late in ball games because he can't hit free throws? Skip, what is it? And again, I need to be aggressive. I'm going to be aggressive. Skip, is 4 shots aggressive? He was 2 of 4. And he said, I'm going to be aggressive. I'm going to be aggressive. And 4 of 14 from the free throw line, Skip. Skip, you got Joel Embiid. He pulled a no-show in the fourth quarter. He had 5 shot attempts, 4 of them from the three-point line. See? I told you. You say, can't nobody stop him down on the block. But he don't want to spend time down there, Skip. That's that grunt work. See, everybody done fell in love with the three-point shot. Everybody done fell in love with the jumper. So nobody wants to get down there and bang and lay the ball up, which he can do at will, which he was doing in the first half, which he jumped out, had like 20 points in the first quarter. He was doing all of that stuff.
Yep.
Tobias Harris is a max contract guy, Skip. He gave you 4 points in 38 minutes.
He made $33 million this year. That's Tobias Harris, and he becomes the forgotten man. And just a quick point of order, our man Nelly texted me right after the game, and he said, how is he getting a pass? And he's right, because he gets a pass because you forget he's even out there.
You know why, Skip? Because he's supposed to be the third. He's really not that. It's not a big three, but he's the third option, supposedly the third option. So basically you go Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris.
Tobias Harris, 2 of 11 last night. Whew.
4 points.
Forgotten man.
If you get 36 points from Seth Curry, Skip, you're supposed to win in a runaway.
You would think so. I don't know if Seth Curry can play much better than this, right?
He can't play any better than that.
Look
Skip,
at these numbers. 13 of 19 and 7 of 12 from 3. 36 points? I mean, is that not brotherly-like?
Yeah, that's son-in-law.
Yeah.
He did that for his pop.
Okay.
He did, Pops, I got you tonight. I'm going to drop 36 on these guys. And then Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris does this. Skip, you can't lose a game like this. You up 26, Skip. This is unacceptable. But Ben Simmons, you're going to get 70%. I'm going to give Joel Embiid 20%. And Tobias Harris, you get 10%. Because I really never expected that much out of you anyway. But those 2 big guns, Skip, you got to bring that one home. You got a 26-point lead.
Okay. I hear everything you say. And before I launch on the Sixers, I do want to give credit to your man, Trae, because he was very good last night, especially protecting the basketball. He didn't turn it over, and he did all the right things to lead their comeback with a lot of help from a guy that you once called Lemon Pepper Lou from Atlanta, GA, right?
Yep.
And he went to Magic City last night during this game, right?
He was heady going, Skip.
Okay, so he helped sort of ramrod the comeback.
Yep.
But Trae helped finish it off, and I'll get to all the above later. So he definitely deserves credit, as do all of them. They played supreme level of basketball. All of them. They all chipped in along the way. But this was a collapse of epic proportion. This is an all-timer. And I saw a stat this morning that over the last 25 years, when the Philadelphia 76ers have held a lead of 26 or more points, they were 165-0. So they've never, ever lost a game the way they lost this game. And I'm going to remind everybody they had an 18-point lead at Atlanta in Game 4.
Yep.
So back-to-back nights, 18-point lead, 26-point lead, LL. Okay, the one man you didn't give any blame to, any percentage of blame, is the head coach. And I love Doc Rivers, and I've said it 1,001 times on this show. If I could play for anybody in the NBA, I would want to play for that man.
Right.
But just as Tobias Harris doesn't deserve any pass, neither does Doc. Because, Shannon, I got to bring this up. Are we seeing a pattern here of Doc coach teams? What happened in the bubble last year to my Clippers?
What,
Kawhi
19,
and Paul
16,
George.
and 12?
It was 16, 19, and 12.
Okay.
Those are the leads that they had in games 5, 6, and 7 with a 3-1 lead over the Denver Nuggets in the bubble in the second round of the playoffs last year. Up 16 in the first closeout, 19 in the second, and 12 in the third closeout game, and could not close one of those deals. And by the way, just quick aside, in those 3 closeout games, Lemon Pepper Lou, Sweet Lou, he was 10 of 32, which is 31% from the floor, which is horrendous, and 2 of 11 from 3. So you could effectively say he beat Doc last night just the way he helped beat Doc in the bubble when he was actually a Clipper and helped lose Doc's job, right?
Yep.
Okay, so Mr. Sharpe, I submit to you that my eye test is telling me that these Doc coach teams are not responding. Maybe it's not a strategic change that they're all sort of embracing and saying, oh, well, let's do that. Let's switch to this.
Right.
Meanwhile, Doc's successor with the Clippers keeps pushing every right button. So it's glaring to me because I watch Doc's team and then I watch Ty Lue's team and I say, look what he's doing. Ty Lue's going small against Gobert and company. He's just going small, but just about the whole game. Obviously, he's resorted to some zones. He's pushed this button and that button. He's pushing the Terrence Mann button. He's playing a second-year kid who stayed all 4 years at Florida State, and he's getting high mileage out of him. So Doc is pushing no right buttons because doesn't it look like a repeat of what happened in the bubble? Doesn't it look like way up, can't close it? Okay, so in the end, it's almost the same problem with the Sixers that it was with the Clippers. You say, who's the quarterback? Who's the point guard who's going to organize you and get you home? Right. Well, I thought it was Ben Simmons. They don't have a true point. They don't have a small, a 6'3" point guard.
Right.
They don't even have a playoff Rondo, who, by the way, escaped mothballs or the doghouse last night and actually played 9 minutes. But the point is, it's up to Ben Simmons to kind of be the point forward, except there's a big problem in the second half. He's running from the free throw line and running from the basketball. He doesn't really want to touch the basketball because he's afraid they're going to foul him and send him to the line. Correct?
That James Harden trade is looking worse and worse now. Because they could have had James Harden for Ben Simmons. Imagine Harden and Embiid in the pick and roll.
Okay. Well, fair point. So the point is, that they can't get organized when it's time to go get a bucket. It's up to Seth.
Because he don't want the ball. You can't put the ball in his hands.
Either Seth is going to kind of dribble, create, step back, make a three, or you're going to dump it down to Embiid. And clearly, let's just put this in perspective. You watched, did you stay long enough to see the whole first quarter last night?
Oh, yeah. I watched the whole first half. He was a monster.
He went 8 for 8 on Capella. At the end of a quarter, he had scored 17 and Capella had scored 0. He did a 17-0 on Capella's head and got a tech for trash talking him all the way up the floor because last night, for a quarter at least, Joel Embiid was engaged. He was forgetting about the nagging knee issue that he has because he got a little torn cartilage in his knee. And he was on a rampage, on sort of a revenge mission to say, watch this. Because what was he in the second half of Game 4? He was 0 for 12. And in the first quarter, he showed you, here it is, for all to see, he goes 8 for 8 for 17. And they roar to a big lead, right? Okay, and then what happened? Well, as the game went on, you know what it started reminding me of? It was like Rumble in the Jungle. It was like Ali versus Foreman and Zaire. And it was like rope-a-dope, where it's almost like Capella said, okay, just beat on me. Just hammer me in the first quarter. And he hammered and pounded away
24 at
his
half.
midsection. And And Embiid, to me, looked like he was out of gas in the third and fourth quarters because I don't think he's in peak condition.
Well, you can't, Skip, if that knee is what they said he is, he can't do any conditioning.
Okay.
So his conditioning is on the court.
I still think you could ride the exercise bike or swim if you really, really wanted to.
Does his strike you?
No. He's not doing that.
Exactly.
But my point to you is he just looked gassed. And then finally, listen, Nate McMillan can flat out coach it.
Yes.
And he's another one like Ty Lue who can weather the storm. You know, he doesn't panic.
Right.
He doesn't give up. He doesn't sit back and fold his arms. He keeps chipping away with different strategic changes. So what did they do in the fourth quarter to Embiid? They were like triple teaming him, saying, we dare you to try to drive the ball into the lane.
Correct.
Because he couldn't. And when he did, he would just flail and lose it trying to draw a foul. And it forces him into step back, no good shots, right? Threes or long twos. And they just, in the fourth quarter, they could not figure it out while Atlanta got on a hot streak, thanks to lemon pepper, and here they came. And once they got rolling, it felt like inevitable, right?
And you Skip, it's hard. When a team is like that, they've been behind, and it seems like every shot that they make, it sucks a little more of the life out of you. You've had it, Skip, you see this. They're looking at the scoreboard, too. Because if you notice, every time a guy makes a shot, they walk down the court, they look up at the scoreboard. Okay, I got a 26-point lead. All of a sudden, it's 20. All of a sudden, it's 12. All of a sudden, it's down to 2 points. They're like, what? Skip, we got a point guard that we can't let him initiate the offense because they're going to foul him. And he doesn't want the ball because he knows they're going to foul him. Skip, they start fouling him in the backcourt.
They do.
And Doc was, everybody, you can't do that to the guy. That guy's an all-star. I say, but he's killing us. He's beating us.
And yet, remember, just in the fourth quarter alone, he didn't kill them at the free throw line because he was 2 of 4.
Right.
But the damage psychologically had been done because he ends up 4 of 14, which is horrendous. In fact, I saw another stat where I think no guard, if you want to call Ben a guard, and you almost have to, no guard in the history of the playoffs had ever missed 10 free throws in a playoff game. Because, again, you have to count him as sort of the point guard.
Yeah, that's what they list him as.
He's obviously 6'10". So, but again, 4 of 14, it just won't work.
Yeah, he worse than Ben Wallace shooting free throws.
He is worse.
And he should, your guard, Skip, because you don't have the ball. You want the ball in his hands.
Right.
And then, Skip, the advantage that he's supposed to give you is what? Defensively. Well, then you can't let Trae go get 39.
No,
you can't let him get 13 in the fourth quarter.
And it was also glaring to me because Trae Young is a pure point guard to me. I know he can score it because how did he score it the most? He got to the free throw line. And he can make his free throws. 17
to 19.
Okay, that worked. That was the difference in the ball game in the end. But the other thing he's really great at, I've always told you, he is not a good he's a great passer. So down the stretch, they were getting organized. He was getting into the lane at will. Ben Simmons was starting to look gassed to me. I think it's just wearing him out, the whole free throw debacle in his head. But the ball was going to the right people at the right time in the right spots. And then Philly just falls all apart. And again, the play of the game, it's like 1:26 left, is Trae Young even gets Thibault on a string on the 3-point minute, if we could see that real quick. This is the one where you said this is the end. This is well, you can't. Thibault is one of the better defenders in the league, right? Didn't he make one of those?
Yeah, he did. He made second team all
defense. And then, okay, that's just wrong because remember, my biggest issue with Trae Young is in this series, he's still a 31% three-point shooter. He was 2 of 6 last night, and the best thing he did was cut it down. Remember, he's 3 of 11 in Game 4. And I said, just cut it back to 5 or 6. And if you can make a couple of logos, it'll be good for your morale.
But see, the thing is, Skip, he'll make just enough to make you respect him to get that foul because he hit one.
Okay, but at that point of the game, Thibault has to just stay down. You're smart. You're one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and he does that, and you could just see the body language on the bench of the Sixers like, okay, we're done. And then the other thing, they did get a break on a John Collins three-point shot. We got to see it real quick. This is what I yelled to Ernestine, actually. The Sixers are going to collapse. This is when I knew this is when that happens, you just know what's coming, right? That's the first sign of this thing is going exactly the wrong direction when he lucky banks in a 3. So in the end, if you look at the bench points in the second half, this is the other thing. It's 30-2, mostly because of Sweet Lou.
Yep.
30-2 in the second half. Well, look what happened in the second half. Did anybody score a field goal in the second half of this game?
Joel Embiid and Seth Curry was the only two to make field goals. I don't know if that's ever happened before.
I don't know, but you're not going to win like that.
No.
That's how you lose a 26-point lead, is
Right.
if only two of your starters score all of your field goals. Really? I mean, unless they're going to score 60 points apiece, you're going to have problems.
Yeah, Skip, but I understand that Doc is responsible for this, but Doc also helped him get that 26-point lead. But Joel Embiid in the second half was 3 of 9. He was 1 for 5 in the fourth quarter. He missed 2 free throws. Now, you told me he's money in the bank on the free throw line.
But they had quit mentally at that point. And, again, the game was virtually over, but that would have cut it to 1 with 11 seconds left. So it'd be tricky because they're going to go down and shoot
foul
free
him.
throws.
Now I get a chance at a 3.
Okay.
If I get the rebound, I get a chance at a 3-point to tie it and send it to overtime
I
or something.
assume you would have to foul Trae Young because he's going to get free to get the inbounds pass.
Right.
So you're going to lose 3 seconds on the clock. It's going to go down to 8 seconds, and he probably is going to go down and make 2 more free throws. But effectively, you might have had a 3 to tie it.
But guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to foul Ben Simmons before he get a chance.
Okay, well, you could argue that. Ain't
nobody getting no shot up.
Okay, so in the end, again, I cannot defend Joel Embiid because he showed you what he can do to Capella when he's locked, loaded, and his tank is full.
Right.
It's death and destruction. It's not even close. Capella has no chance.
No, he's just too small.
Okay, so now I look at these last 2 games. In the second half of these last 2 games, Joel Embiid is 3 of 21. That won't cut it. Right? He's 1 of 6 from 3. That really will not cut it. And in these last 2 games, in the 2 second halves, Ben Simmons is 1 of 2. So help me out. He's an all-star, and in 2 full second halves with 2 huge leads, he took 2 total shots and made 1 of them. Well, that's an all-star. Well, that
definitely won't work. But guess what, Skip? You know why? First of all, he's not going to shoot the ball from outside.
No.
And if he get his field goals, how is he going to get them? Driving to the basket. Well, if I drive to the basket, Skip, there's a chance they're going to foul me. Well, if they foul me, what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to go to the free throw line where all those demons are standing. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to bare my soul. Skip, it's almost like you have to, when you go to the free throw line, Skip, you really have to bare your soul because you're up there all alone. Well, you and those demons.
Hey, what do I tell you about LeBron? It's not that easy. Yeah. You know it. LeBron knows it better than anybody. You have to go stand there all alone.
Yes.
And it's the one play in basketball. It's like golf. The ball doesn't move until you move, so there's no reaction on this shot. You have to say, okay, now I'm going to shoot it. And your mind can just devour you.
And then that's where it is with Ben Skip. And I don't know.
You know what's funny about his shot? It looks good to me. Yeah. The motion of it is good. It's flat. It's too flat and hard, and he back irons a lot of them. And a lot of them are so they're like bullet shots where they just bounce all wild off them.
But Skip, he's shooting it so hard, it's either front rim or it's hitting the back of the rim and almost coming right back to him.
Right, but this looks okay to me.
Yeah. The motion, it has a fluid motion.
Yeah.
But Skip, I just don't know. But where did it go? I don't know how he gets better. Skip, he can't shoot outside of the paint. He doesn't want to go to the rim because he's going to get fouled and have to go make free throws. Is his defense enough? Skip, he's a max player. He's an all NBA player on the offense and the defensive side. So what do you do with that?
So you got your Hawks closing it out?
Joel Embiid might come get 50 and 20.
He might, but he's got to play the third and the fourth quarter.
No, put it like this. Let me take that back. Joel Embiid might have 30-15 in the first half. And in the second half, because he's Skip, to get that, he's expending a lot of energy in the first half.
I'd say.
Somebody, Tobias Harris, bruh, you make too much money to give him 4 points. 4 points, Tobias?
For a while last night, this looked like a mismatch.
It did.
It just did. Seriously.
I thought you said, you know what? The Hawks are just like, y'all go ahead and get this one. We're going to get to Game 6 in Atlanta, and then we'll come back here for Game 7.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, y'all don't really want to win.
You don't want to? Really? Okay, we'll take this.
Yes.
I'm going to hang in just because I still believe in Embiid, and I'm going to hang in and say they somehow figure out Game 6 and get it home for Game 7 and win it.
Well, no lead is safe because guess what I'm going to do? Skip, they might start Hacker Ben in the first half.
Listen, Doc is in the spotlight now
Yeah.
because he's got to come up with some way to manage around Ben Simmons.
Yes,
he
yes,
is.
yes. But at least he's open to the idea.
Sounds
because
like it.
a week ago, he wasn't even open to the idea of possibly taking Ben Simmons out,
Yep.
although he was hurting the ball club because he couldn't make free throws.
Yep. Who saved him in one of those previous games? What was it? Game one.
Shake Milton.
Shake and bake. 1 of 5 last night. Well, that won't do it. So Doc pushed the shake button,
Right.
and it just rattled.
Skip, you can't. Guys like that, you really got to you got to go count on your core guys. You see what you got from last night from the Clippers. We're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Skip, I can't go into a game penciling 13 points from Terrence Mann. I can't do that, Skip, because that's so few and far between that I'm going to get that. I should know I'm going to get X from Paul George. Marcus Morris going to give me this. Reggie Jackson has been playing unbelievable. So those are the core guys that I'm counting on. Anything else I get outside of that, that's a blessing.
Okay.
I should be able to count on Joel Embiid, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons. And anything I get outside of that. Seth Curry giving me 36. I got to win that game.
You got to win that game.
Yeah.
Well, Tobias Harris better give you 20 at Atlanta, which he is highly capable of giving you.
All right,
Better give me 20 in the first half. Y'all want a chance to
tomorrow
win.
in Atlanta, then maybe it'll be back in Philly for Game 7. That loss does not look good on Doc. That's what I kept thinking about last night when I was watching that one.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.